Hello and welcome to episode 26 of Balboa Park. I am Nikos Balboa and this is Balboa Park. I am a trans man, Italian, living in France. I've been living here for more than 20 years. I have a teen daughter and I'm a mom. I'm a tattoo artist and I do graphic novels in Italy and in France. And in this podcast, I want to talk about the creative process as a way of self knowledge. Hello, my friend, episode 26. Today, I'm shifting gears from painting and drawing and setting up the creative nest and graphic journaling because I want to talk about my approach in tattooing, especially the fascinating challenge of cover up tattoos. And I was thinking about talking about this because this morning I was posting on my Instagram, which it's a whole new chapter. You know that I have a lot of feelings around Instagram and I still didn't manage to understand what I learned from, I was talking about this in the past episodes, is that I don't want this to be too much work. And so I still have only one Instagram for posting tattoos, for posting illustration, for posting graphic journal. And it's been a long time I didn't have posted a tattoo. Some part because I have a lot of going on. I want to promote the newsletter, the podcast, and then there is the Strangeland podcast, and then there is Strangeland Studio things going on, and then I am working on this series, the new perimeter that you already know and you already saw it here on the newsletter. And so I was like, okay, I need to post a tattoo, but I also want to engage a conversation and talk about my creative process. I think it's fun to share this also here on the podcast because tattooing is very cool and it's very challenging, and also like is a very primal way of us human to get back the ownership of our body. It's very euphorizing to do something that make us even more human, that bring us in contact with our body. This can be happen when you practice yoga. This can be happen when you go and buy a new pair of shoes, but also also when you get a haircut, for example, and when you get a tattoo. It's so cool. I love doing tattoo, but I also love getting tattooed. But sometimes what happens is like shit happens. It can happen that you get a tattoo that you don't like, that you don't feel. Within the years it fades away, or for some reason you don't want to have it anymore on your skin. Now you have the possibility to have it removed by laser, but it's very expensive and it's very painful, and actually is less fun than getting a cover-up tattoo, because with a cover-up tattoo, when it's done with a purpose, well, you will end up with a cool tattoo that doesn't look like a cover-up. And for me specifically, it's a fascinating challenge making a cover-up tattoo. The thing is that cover-up tattoos are a unique art form. They require a blend of creativity, but also you have skills and also deep understanding of the old and the new design you want to do on the skin. And pleasure of working on cover-ups. Today I wanted to share my process with you. Maybe you are a tattooer, or also maybe you want to get a cover-up and you don't know how it works. Firstly, I start with the initial sketching phase. This means that I'm in front of the tattoo that I have to cover. I clean the skin, I shave the hair, and then I take my Sharpie. And with a very light, like yellow Sharpie, I start to draw directly on the skin, on the old tattoo, over the old tattoo. And this step is crucial as it helps us, me, and the client, visualize potential shapes and size for the new design we want to create. It's like finding a new way of integrate the old design into the new one. And of course, when you do a cover up, you need to have at least a 2/3 of bigger size than the original one, because what you don't want is to have something which is very dark and then a drawing, a design that will scream to cover the old one. You just want to make at the end a cool tattoo that people will forget about what's before. And then once the basic shape and size is sketched out, I always have a check-in with my client. We look at the mirror and they can see the final size. We still don't have a design, but they will see the surface of the skin that will be covered in tattoo, and it's often, as I was saying, bigger than the original. And I want to make sure that they are happy with the general size and shapes of the new design. For a cover, for me, like always in tattoo, but especially in the cover up, the communication is the key. And I want my clients to feel involved and satisfied with every step of the process. And then, after getting this initial approval, I move on to the detailed composition. I switch to a darker color to refine the composition and details and design. Often I use some orange or pink or very light green. And this phase is what I call the pomme de terre, the potatoes, because I bring the new tattoo, the new design to life, but the composition and the drawing, it's mostly composed but very rough forms and not very detailed. It's just to make sure that, okay, here it's a head and here it's a foot, or I don't know. And then after I find my composition satisfying, I have another check-in with the client, because the thing is that often the person is getting the tattoo doesn't see the skin on the mirror, because they often on a chair or standing up or on the tattoo table, and so I'm on them and drawing. So it's very important to, for me at least, to take those poses and go in front of the mirror and check with them. And in this phase, they will probably have something to add or to change to this first rough drawing. And sometimes their idea are genius, and sometimes they are not. And I'm very clear and I'm very open about discussing all this, because even though some moments, some drawings, some ideas, some composition may seem a good idea, when you are a tattooer, you may have also this distance to project the drawing, the design in time. And so sometimes people would propose something that I would maybe deny, because it will not look very good in the ears, or it will not look very good as a composition. But I'm also always very open to listen, and sometimes people as clients has a very good idea about also technical things, about composition, about things that they want to put in it. In to this day, I always have found a compromise and a dialogue around the design. So I guess it's like it's a dialogue. It's not only my project. Tattooing is not like when I'm only in my creative nest, if you listen to this podcast, in which I can do whatever I want. When I'm tattooing, I do whatever I want up to the point in which I meet the limit of the person who's getting the tattoo. So, as I was saying, we discuss, we refine the design, and if need, we make any final adjustment. And the goal is to ensure the client is completely happy with the design before moving forward. And when the design is finalized, I retrace the drawing with a darker marker. Often is like a dark blue or a red, sometimes can be some kind of brown. I never use black Sharpie. Why? Because I did it very few, maybe once in the beginning of my tattoo career, when I started using the freehand technique, which means that I draw directly on the skin. And the reason is because the ink, which what you tattoo, is black. And so if you have your lines are black and the ink is the same color, you will not know what is already have been tattooed or not, and it's very confusing. So as I was saying, when the design is finalized, I retrace the drawing with a dark marker, as I was saying, not black color. To set the outline, I often also add maybe some detail to the drawing, and this helps in making the design more visible and ready to get the tattooing process. And finally, I start the tattooing, and this is where the transformation happens, because those lines, those messy colored line, one above the other, they turns into the planned design and into the hopefully beautiful tattoo. So yes, covering up tattoos are like an intricate process that requires the skills, but also the vision, but also the patience to because sometimes the drawing doesn't come right away, and it's also like a collaborative approach with the client. I'm so proud of the transformation we achieve and the satisfaction my clients get from seeing their old tattoos reimagine and turn into something new and beautiful, and they can completely forget about what was there before. I like doing this so much. If you happen to come to La Rochelle, or maybe in Rome, or maybe in Paris, and you have a tattoo that you don't like anymore, maybe you can come and talk to me, send me a DM, or I don't know, an email, because I'm always open to new cover up projects, and I like doing this so much. I'm very excited in transforming your old ink into something very cool, at least something you love. Yeah, I think it's all for today. Thank you for joining me in this episode of Balboa Park. If you liked what you just read and hear, please consider to share it on your social media, or with your, maybe share this episode with your friend who has a very ugly tattoo and it's considering to go to have it laser removed. There is always an option, a different option. Please subscribe and leave a feedback, leave a 5 star if you want to, and let me know if you enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope to talk to you very soon. Bye bye.